Hello and welcome to this edition of Infravisioning. In this session, we are going to be discussing a gas, a colorless, odorless gas which is increasingly finding significant mention in energy discussions, and it's not colorless anymore. It's largely going to be green. Green when there are no harmful greenhouse emissions during its production. Black, gray and brown hydrogen, which is considered dirty because of emissions during its production. A cleaner blue hydrogen when produced from natural gas. Yellow hydrogen using solar power during electrolysis. Turquoise using the process of methane pyrolysis. Pink hydrogen if produced using nuclear energy, and white hydrogen naturally occurring in underground deposits. So, let us move ahead to analyze the recent popularity of this very colorful gas. Till January 2021, hydrogen featured as an afterthought in all energy related discussions in India. It, however, caught the attention of policymakers when the finance minister, in her budget speech in February 2021, set aside rupees 800 crores for a hydrogen mission. At the Reliance annual general meeting in June 2021, Mr. Mukesh Ambani said that as part of the group's new energy action plan and vision, Reliance would bet big on hydrogen and set up fuel cell and electrolyzer factories to produce green hydrogen. Market suddenly got excited about hydrogen, and then on August 15th, the Prime Minister from the ramparts of the Red Fort added to the buzz when he announced, and this is what he said: "Green hydrogen is the future of the world. Today I announce the setting up of the National Hydrogen Mission. We have to make India a global hub for green hydrogen production and export." After this Prime Minister's announcement, the nation took note, and hydrogen firmly established itself as a key component of India's energy journey henceforth. Well, it did not take long for corporate India to announce its plans. In mid-September, the Adani Group announced its intentions to set up one of the largest green hydrogen projects in the world. Indian Oil announced the setting up of the country's first hydrogen plant at its Mathura refinery. NTPC announced plans for a green hydrogen fueling station in Ladakh, and other companies like Larsen & Toubro also announced plans. So, what is green hydrogen? To decipher it, it is instructive to understand the process of producing hydrogen. While hydrogen is one of the most abundant elements, it cannot be sourced as a gas from the atmosphere since it is lighter than air. Instead, it has to be separated from other compounds like water. Two of the most common ways to produce hydrogen from water is steam methane reforming, called SMR, and electrolysis or water splitting. While SMR is less expensive, the process produces greenhouse gas emissions that defeat the main purpose of opting for hydrogen in the first place. Currently, 90% of global hydrogen production is by the SMR process. Electrolysis involves passing electricity through water to separate into basic elements hydrogen and oxygen. But electrolysis is an energy intensive process. About 50 units of electricity is required to produce a kilogram of hydrogen, not counting the energy costs of the total plant system as well as for storage and transportation. So, if fossil fuels are going to be used to generate the electricity to produce the hydrogen, then the question is, what is so renewable about it? Well, if the required electricity is produced from renewable sources, then the resultant hydrogen is termed green, and the byproduct is water, making it a most environmentally friendly fuel. Since green it has to be, there are two challenges to contend with: the cost of production and the cost of transportation. Grey hydrogen from fossil fuels costs between $1 and $2 per kg, whereas green hydrogen costs substantially more at $4 and $5 per kg. It is expected that green hydrogen will become competitive to fossil fuel based hydrogen by about 2030. Mr. Mukesh Ambani in his AGM speech said he expected green hydrogen costs to come down to $1 per kg in a decade. Transportation options would require serious attention, as this link again takes another large dose of energy utilization. After converting electricity to hydrogen, shipping it, storing it, transporting it and then converting back into electricity, the delivered energy can be below 30% of the initial electricity used. Thus, the point is that the rapid growth of green hydrogen requires vast amounts of energy to be generated from renewable sources. So, renewable sources and their transmission all have to gear up. Hydrogen will increasingly be used in transport, industry and power applications. About 85% of the green hydrogen produced now is done in situ, so that transportation is avoided. In the industrial sector, the main in situ users are metals, ammonia and refineries. Others will gradually follow. Hydrogen produced now for transportation has to compete with batteries. Hydrogen is best used in heavy duty, long distance terrestrial transportation and shipping, because batteries have low energy to weight ratios and they take a long time to charge compared to fuel cells. Hydrogen solves both the problems. For smaller distances, however, battery charged vehicles are the most viable and the most economic option for short distances. The best use of hydrogen is in the power sector for storage. Hydrogen based storage is ideal for interseasonal storage of power to take care of the lean months of renewable generation. So, rapidly bringing down green hydrogen costs is clearly a laudable national goal and worthy of government support. The Union government plans to implement the green hydrogen consumption obligation in production of fertilizers, metals and petroleum refining, similar to what was done with renewable purchase obligations or RPOs. This is expected to start at 10% and increase in later years to 20 or 25%. Viability gap funding for green hydrogen in heavy mobility is also being considered, with the possibility and possibly production linked incentive schemes for manufacturing electrolyzers to produce green hydrogen. The draft electricity rules 2021 have allowed green hydrogen purchase to meet renewable power obligations. It is reliably understood that the Union government is expected to initiate a serious play in this area by calling bids for 4 gigawatts electrolyzer capacity to be ramped up to 20 gigawatts in the medium term. India has latched on to hydrogen fairly early in the game. Globally, 120 million tons of hydrogen is produced annually. Only 1% is green. The current annual demand for hydrogen in India is about 6 million tons. It needs to go up 10 times if net zero targets are to be met. It promises to be a game changer across industry, power and transportation, and of course, to meet the country's ambitious decarbonization goals. Welcome to the color green for a gas, hydrogen. Thank you.